Prince Andrew has been stripped of his military titles, his reputation, and not to be addressed as His Royal Highness, after a New York judge ruled a civil suit against the prince. But is Prince Andrew really guilty of the SA allegations? And what really happened? Part 1. An old nemesis. Where it all began. A brilliant helicopter pilot and war hero who captivated the hearts of millions of Britons during the Falkland Islands War. Royal watchers would even say he was a favorite of his mother, Queen Elizabeth II. He's Prince Andrew, the second son. Britain's Prince Andrew was accused by Virginia Giuffre of SA her when she was a teenager. In her lawsuit, she claimed that Prince Andrew, known as the Duke of York, SA her at Mr. Epstein's mansion in Manhattan and on his private island, Little St. James, in the US Virgin Islands. Before going any further, let's have a recap on how this scandal actually developed. Sit tight, because it's going to be a long ride, if not bumpy even. But first, if you love our content, make sure to hit the subscribe button and notification bell, as we have interesting stories you don't want to miss. And back to the story. In 1999, Ghislaine Maxwell and billionaire Jeffrey Epstein, reportedly with an escort of young women, visited Balmoral Castle, the Queen's private Scottish estate, at the invitation of Prince Andrew. Then years later, a photo showing the then couple at Balmoral surfaces. Fast forward to 2010, and footage captures Prince Andrew prying around the front door of Epstein's Manhattan mansion and waving cheerfully to a younger woman. Then in February 2011, after being tracked down by journalist Sharon Churcher in Australia, an interview with Virginia Giuffre showed up in the mail on Sunday, with a picture clearly showing Prince Andrew's hand around Virginia's waist at Maxwell's Belgravia home in 1999. Where things start to get twisted is when the picture was allegedly taken by Epstein, which makes it an important evidence in the story. Still in February, when Epstein had been recently released from jail for child SA offenses, Prince Andrew is seen walking with him. Then, in July 2011, after his ties with Epstein come under severe criticism and scrutiny, Buckingham Palace announces that Prince Andrew has been stripped of his role as UK Special Representative for Trade and Investment. In April 2015, Virginia Giuffre publicly accused Prince Andrew of participating in intimate activities with a minor, claiming that he slept with her 3 times, in London, New York, and on Epstein's private Caribbean island. 3 months later, July 2015, Epstein is arrested on federal sex trafficking charges. And mysteriously, in August 2019, guards at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York find Epstein unconscious in his cell. An examiner rules his death as suicide after he is pronounced dead later that day. Then 3 months later, Emily Maitlis, a British journalist, interviews Prince Andrew in a Newsnight special at Buckingham Palace. As expected, he tries to use the interview to clear his name and explain how everything has been a misunderstanding. But instead, he became a laughingstock worldwide, causing more scrutiny. While on the interview, the journalist mentioned that Virginia had claimed that she dined, danced at the Tramp nightclub in London, and later had sex with him at a house belonging to Maxwell. Prince Andrew vehemently denied that he had never seen Virginia Giuffre before, nor met her in Tramps at all, and that on that day, he took his daughter Beatrice to a party at Pizza Express in Woking. As a result, Pizza Express became a popular place. 1 week after the terrible interview, Prince Andrew announced he was stepping back from royal duties, as the Epstein scandal had become a commotion to the royal family. But this wasn't the end. On August 2021, Virginia Giuffre sued Prince Andrew for sexual assault in the United States. But you don't expect the royal family to be quiet and continue to let the family name be dragged in the mud. In January 2022, Prince Andrew's military titles and patronages were stripped off him and returned to the Queen, further stripping the title His Royal Highness in an office capacity. Then, after all of these, his title stripped off him, the allegations about him circulating, the royal family not interfering, saying it was a matter for Andrew and his legal team to handle, and to top it off, he had made a mockery of himself at an interview before. To even make matters worse, his friendship with the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, who was later arrested and found guilty on 5 out of 6 counts, made it even harder to believe whether he was as guilty as charged or not. A perfect fit for the saying, "Show me your friend, and I'll tell you who you are." But a surprise twist comes in after. Part 2. What happened after? Virginia Giuffre said in an interview with the BBC in 2019 that she was introduced to Prince Andrew by Epstein and his then-girlfriend and socialite, Ghislaine Maxwell, who had taken them to a nightclub. Then, to even back up her claim, a widely published photograph taken in London showed Prince Andrew with his arm around Virginia's waist. Prince Andrew told the BBC that he had no memory of the photograph ever being taken. To make things even look more awkward and attract serious negative comments to him, he made weird claims to evade Virginia Giuffre's charges. One he said was that he was medically incapable of sweating, and Virginia had confirmed that he was sweating profusely during one of their meetings. This just showed that there was more to the story. Prince Andrew was never criminally charged over the allegations, as it was a civil lawsuit. Then, in February 2022, Prince Andrew settled the SA case, a settlement that came completely out of the blue and spares him from having to give evidence at trial. Prince Andrew said he never had intentions to malign Ms. Giuffre's character, and he accepts that she has suffered both as an established victim of abuse and as a result of unfair public attacks. The settlement came 6 months after Virginia filed her suit, and 1 month after Judge Kaplan denied Prince Andrew's plea to dismiss the case. It also added that the prince promised to make a substantial donation to Giuffre's charity to support victims' rights. Part 3. Present day. After the case of Virginia Giuffre had been settled, another recent accusation came up again against Prince Andrew. The London's Metropolitan Police said they wouldn't be conducting any new investigations into the prince after a 2016 deposition accused him of groping a woman's breast. The deposition was among the many mostly unaltered documents related to Jeffrey Epstein uncovered under the order of a judge in a now-settled allegation case with Virginia Giuffre. In the deposition, Johanna Sjoberg claims that she was groped by Prince Andrew in 2001 when she was 21 years old. The allegations were not new, especially when it was related to Jeffrey Epstein. But BBC News reported that Buckingham Palace had called her allegations categorically untrue. According to Sjoberg, she said she met Prince Andrew when she was brought to Epstein's house in New York in 2001 by Ghislaine Maxwell. Virginia Giuffre, whose case was settled out of court in 2022, was also in the house. Sjoberg claimed she initially didn't know that Prince Andrew was a British royal until Maxwell took her to get a caricature puppet of him from a BBC show. She further said she sat on Andrew's lap, while Virginia Giuffre sat next to him on the couch with the puppet in her own lap. There was a group photo with Prince Andrew's puppet groping Virginia's breast, and Prince Andrew himself groping Sjoberg's breast. Graham Smith, CEO of the anti-monarchy group Republic, said in a statement that he had reported Prince Andrew to the police. He called for the attention of the authorities to look into the allegations rising against Prince Andrew. He says, "To date, there appears to have been no serious criminal investigation, no interview of the accused or other witnesses, and no clear justification for taking no action." Given the seriousness of the incidents, the conviction of Ghislaine Maxwell, Andrew's payment of an estimated $12 million to Giuffre, and the related accusations from other victims, it seems there must be grounds for a full criminal investigation into these events and those involved, he said. True. There must be grounds for a full criminal investigation, and the voices of the victims must be heard and justified. The question now is whether or not Prince Andrew can return to any form of public life, or will he have to start afresh in another country? What are your thoughts on this? Do you think Prince Andrew will be called to publicly answer for his alleged crimes like every citizen of a country? Or do you think this scandal will be swept under the carpet? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell to stay updated on the best of stories, celebrity gossip, and news. See you on the next one.